Hi, my loves. Happy new moon in Aries. I have missed you all, and I know I've been MIA for a very, very long time at this point. It's just been a pivotal time. It's been a very intense time. As some of you know, I'm a special needs mom, and so a lot of that can just take up my life and be very engaging, and I don't have time for much else. But I've missed you all, and I wanted to come in here today on this very, very potent, powerful lunation and just talk with you about some of the aspects and the astrology, and also just offer some guidance through a tarot reading and just connect with you all again. I miss you all very much. I miss reading for you, and I love doing these videos. So I'm hoping to do them more often. I'm just going to be seeing how life kind of pans out over the next few months. But I know I'm not alone in having just an intensity of experience right now. It is just really, really, really wild, and some of our lives very chaotic. So I just want to offer all of that understanding and just sending you all so much love and hope in these crazy, volatile times. This new moon is at 0 degrees Aries, which is really potent. It is, it's not that often we actually have the new moon in Aries on the 0 to 1 or 2 degrees, but to have it at 0 degrees like that, it just feels really important and really like a message from the universe of this being a fresh new beginning, and along with that, a very much a potent ending in some of the ways that life unfolds. So, not only do we have that, which is just really powerful, but we have major shifts, major planetary shifts happening in the skies, both last week, this week, that just echo and really enhance and really support this really big energy of the new moon where it's happening. The new moon is not only at 0 degrees Aries, it is happening, or it did happen at 1:22 Eastern time today, so I'm a little bit late getting this video out. But I still felt like I wanted to connect with you. And as always, new moons and full moons are always, the energy of them is always present the day before, the day of, and the day after. So there's plenty of time to work with that energy or really feel it and sink into it and really understand, its meaning for your life and all that. So there's never any rush to like, oh, it's exactly at 1:22 and you missed it. So I figure, in honor of that knowing and in honor of that realization that the energy is much broader and much more encompassing and inclusive. I'm just going to make the video a little bit late and call it good. So, but yes, and it is happening concurrently with Pluto moving into Aquarius. We have that happening within hours of that lunation. And then last week we had a pretty big shift as well with Saturn moving into Pisces, where Saturn has not been since 1994. So you can look back at some of the themes that might have been present in your life, 94 to 96. Perhaps you weren't even born yet. So really powerful shifting tides with that. It's a 30-year cycle. Pluto moving into Aquarius. He has not done that since 240 some years ago. We also have Mars moving out of Gemini. Thank goodness. If you've noticed a theme since last August of having to do things twice or having to do things multiple times, having to maybe perhaps approach something in a different way that you thought was already taken care of, that the storyline was closed and you have to revisit it. I know in my own iteration of this, I have to do a lot of paperwork for my son for Medicaid, and I've had to do emails twice. I've had to do paperwork twice. I've never had such a time in my life where I've been doing everything twice. I'm like, oh, Mars needs to leave Gemini. So he will. And it's been a powerful time. I mean, it's a time of really honing your approach, of really understanding, what could be done better or what could be done a little bit differently, or, just making something better as you go forward through it. So it's not a bad thing. None of these things ever are bad. I don't like to get into the kind of astrology where, well, this is a good thing and this is a bad thing. It's like, no, it's all in how it unfolds, and sometimes good just means we like it and we desire it, and bad just means we wish it hadn't happened, but that doesn't really define the circumstances. It doesn't really define the experience. So I think staying open to what's the meaning within those transits for you, and what's perhaps the lessons or the understandings or the wisdom that can be gleaned from these transits, no matter what's happening. So so Mars will be moving into Cancer the end of this week, which will be, he's not the happiest in Cancer, but it's a different energy. And I think we'll all start to notice, with the moon in Aries, where there's been a very Piscean, very heavy, very watery energy over the last month. I think a lot of us have had a lot of emotional upheaval. It can be even a crying energy, just really heavy, Neptune where it's at, and then Saturn moving into Pisces. There's so much Piscean energy, and having the sun and moon there as well the last day or two, it's just been like, whoa. So I think it's really a good shift to kind of have the sun and moon moving into Aries and kind of have some fresh new energy, along with we still will have quite a bit of Piscean energy. And Piscean energy is really an energy that's intuitive. It's able to connect with the wisdom of the greater consciousness, able to feel through the energies of the collective and know, kind of what's evolving, what's unfolding. But there's also an energy of endings with Piscean energy. So I won't be surprised over this next space of time, especially as Pluto ingresses into Aquarius, that there will be a lot of storylines that end in our lives. And I think that's already been happening for some of us on several different levels. And that can be, very mundane things like, finishing a book. I know somebody who just finished writing their book for 10 years, and what a beautiful thing to have finished and to have an ending in their life and now a new beginning of this book going out into the world. And then along with that, it can also be the ending of a relationship, or the allowing the space for a new circumstance or person to come into your life. So endings can be difficult, but they also provide the way for new beginnings. And if you are navigating, a more difficult grief-centered ending, my heart goes out to you, because those endings have been part of this energy as well. And I know several people who have had loss in their lives. I've had loss in my own life. So there's been a lot of that as well. And there may continue to be some of that. I don't think that'll be the main focus, but it's just kind of an understanding of what these energies hold. It's a deeply intuitive, a deeply sensing time, but it's also a time of huge shifts and storylines and sea changes and chapters closing and new chapters beginning. So be gentle with yourself as you move through this energy. Be compassionate to others, compassionate to yourself. I think, honestly, it's hardest to be compassionate to yourself. So I would offer that, if you're watching this today, that the self-talk that you give to yourself and the ways that you treat yourself as you would a very dear and precious friend, and you will do well for yourself through this very volatile time. It will help so much. So the deck I want to use today is a very beautiful deck called the Fortuna Tarot deck. Let's see, I can never find the box, but I found the book, so we'll just look at it this way. It's mostly the same as the box, although the cards are just gorgeous. Oh no, here it is. This is good. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's got like that holographic, beautiful, lovely laser edging on it and stuff. It's just beautiful. One of my dearest friends gave it to me as a present, and I will actually link her below, because if you are looking for a tarot reading, while my shop is still closed, I am just not doing public readings right now. I would highly recommend her. She's a wonderful reader, a powerful psychic, and just a beautiful human being. So anyway, but I love this deck, and it's so precious and special to me. And I just love the purple and the purple edging and the foiling here. It's so beautiful. So anyway, we'll have fun using this deck. I thought I want to do something really different for today for this beautiful new energy, and it just felt like this deck just felt like it matched that so perfectly. So you know the drill. If you've watched me for any length of time, you can pick cards 1, 2, or 3. You can pick now. You can pick after. You can pick when you hear the message that most resonates with your heart. Trust your intuition that you'll know what's right. You'll know what's true for you, and to trust your own truth. And I have people that pick every card every time, and they say it's just a complete reading for them. So that works too. Whatever works, whatever feels aligned is perfect. So the very first card coming out here, and it actually flew out while I was shuffling, so that's why I quit shuffling, is the Oracle, or in traditional tarot, it's the Hierophant, which is a really powerful card to have come forward. For those of you who pick card 1, I like just flashing it. Can you tell? I'm like, ooh, look at the holographic foiling. It picks up the light. But I love this card because we have the keys, and we have this feeling of climbing and having this illumination come through. And the Hierophant really is truly about a time of change in your life. Any of the 5s in tarot can bring a volatility. They can bring that feeling of, just this chaos, this shifting, and it's instability. The 5s have a feeling of instability and uncertainty in the tarot. But what's really beautiful about these is there's a feeling of moving forward and really moving towards where you want to go with the 5s. So not an easy energy, but it's like, hey, things aren't going to stay the way they were. So, if you've been feeling like you've been stuck, or you've been feeling like something hasn't felt like you could really get to your dreams or manifest your dreams, this energy is really saying you're moving forward again. And along with that, you're being granted the keys to move forward that maybe you have been looking for. You have not known where the keys could be, and here they are on this beautiful card offering you a way forward. The Hierophant often comes up for me too around needing a source of wisdom beyond your own. And I always advocate trusting your inner knowing. And if this resonates for you, you'll know. But with the Hierophant coming forward, there's this feeling of like, find something that will help confirm the feelings you have in your own soul. And that can be talking to a trusted friend, that can be talking to a trusted advisor or a counselor, even a therapist, somebody that you trust to give you wisdom about what your current situation is, where you're moving, where you'd like to go to. But the Hierophant often comes up around look for trusted advice, not just any advice, but advice from someone you know cares about you and has your best interests in heart. And if you don't have someone like that, then listen for advice to come through in the next few days. Listen for wise words to be spoken in your awareness. And it could even come from a child, someone who's you wouldn't maybe even think would know how to speak to your situation. And they may not be speaking to your situation, but the words they use or something about it will speak to you. And you'll have that knowing like, oh, I need to listen to this. I need to do this. I've had that happen even with my son's TV shows. Like sometimes I'll walk by and the line just on the TV show, I'm like, I think that's a message. I think that's a message for something I need to be aware of. So, wow, the cards are really talkative. They're just kind of flying off in my hands here. So, all right, we have the beautiful King of Talismans coming forward, and that's the traditional King of Swords. So for those of you who picked card 2, this card is asking you to really trust incisive wisdom to cut through the crap and to ask for clarity. That's what's coming through for me right now. It is time for you to break free of the fog and the Neptunian tides that have been perhaps filling your life. And you may even be breathing a sigh of relief as I'm saying that, like you have felt just this fog or this lack of clarity and this need to know, like, what do I do? What's the next step? And that's also the message I feel with this card. It may not be that you have this beautiful unfolding path before you and an entire map handed to you, and you'll know exactly which way to go in every way, shape, and form. You may just know the next step, but having that much clarity, having that much insight of how to go forward is going to change the game for you. So again, for you, there is this feeling of wisdom coming from within or even wisdom coming from without. The Swords cards, especially the King of Swords, I always think of a very wise, very articulate human being that is just very capable of seeing with clarity. And perhaps that will again be someone that speaks to you, but it may come from inside of you on this card. This may be your own energy that you are tapping into and asking the universe or whatever higher power or wider power that you like to confer with or whatever, speaking to them and saying, I need clarity. I want clarity. I'm ready to move forward in a way that is helping me to bring forward my dreams, to move in the direction that my heart is calling me. Help me, give me clarity, something like that. And you will find that message within the next week here. So, all right, let's see what the final card is for those of you who have picked card number 3. And that card coming forward is, we've got the Empress, which is a really beautiful energy. So we got 2 majors here. We've got a lot of really shifting energy happening right now, which is really beautiful. And this card, I just love it. The message of this beautiful spring season coming in, and this card is really speaking to a beautiful energy and saying that you are bringing the wealth and the abundance into your life that you have been seeking, and that you are ready to ground in a new way. I'm even going to offer, as I look into this, I'm feeling like someone is actually contemplating moving or has been wanting to move or afraid to move. Like there's something around moving that is calling with this card, and the energy is very well supported right now. Whether you put things in place to move or whether you have been resistant to a move and it's saying it's okay, it's going to work out, it's going to be a very beautiful energy. It's a very Venusian energy, and I think about how Venus has I believe Venus has actually just moved into Taurus and has, I think, actually already interacted with the North Node. So there's a real feeling of follow your heart and trust the steps that are unfolding, and there's a real connection to the land with those of you who have drawn this card. So perhaps you have dreams around the land right now, too. I have a friend, and that story is coming to mind, so I'm just going to share it, who has been hoping to create a sustainable preserve, a place where people can come and be nurtured and be in connection with the land and learn, how to farm sustainably and interact with the land in supportive and helpful and beautiful ways that support the wildlife and the wild living things rather than taking from the land. So there's something beautiful with that for those of you who have chosen this card. So Well, big energies, my friends, big, big energies and big, big shifts. And I'm excited for this next cycle. I feel the seismic shiftings beneath it all. And I know there's going to be some pretty big changes for all of us. And I think hanging out with each other, being there for each other in whatever ways and capacities you can. I think all of us are, in some regard having to really focus on our own experience, our own stories right now. But when you can, reaching out and being that support and that listening ear and that holding space for others, I think can be really, really important. So I'm wishing you all so much love. I'm wishing you a beautiful new moon in Aries and so much good and so much wonderfulness wished your way. And I will talk to you all again soon.